press there, is it? A wonderful goal from Paul Warhurst. Oh, it's another wonderful Crystal Palace goal. Jackson got the flicker on the near post. This time Walker couldn't keep it out. Weatherall is in. Oh, drilled in by Lars Bohinen. And he is great. And what did we say? Bit of tease from Limpar. Stewart again. Yes! Two goals in the match for Graham Stewart. And Everton might have saved themselves.
3-2 to the Blues, and at the last gasp on the last day of last season, Everton retained their Premiership status. The crowds went wild, but who could have predicted that those scenes of delight would be eclipsed 12 months later by still greater ecstasies? The close season was a time for rebuilding. The new stand arose on the site of the old Kop, and on the field Mike Walker made some new signings in the shape of ex-Tottenham Hotspur man Vinny Samways and Nigerian World Cup international Daniel Amokachi. They were the main planks in the plan to construct a team to bring the glory days back to Goodison. 35,500 packed in for the first game of the campaign at Goodison Park against Aston Villa.
Well, the Everton supporters certainly expectant this season of a better league campaign than last, when survival was only guaranteed on the very last day of the season in dramatic style. Important that Everton get off to a good start. Jackson with a throw-in, Rideout does well to hold off the attentions of Kevin Richardson. Jackson making space for the cross, easy header away though for the Villa defence. And now Anders Limpar, a buzz from the Everton crowd every time the Swede gets possession. Villa player goes down, play goes on, good chance for Stewart, and that should have been 1-0 for Everton, and Graham Stewart knows it. Mark Bosnich looking nonplussed at his defenders. The cross was a teasing one, the goalkeeper stranded, and Stewart somehow put it over the top. Everton on top of Villa currently, coming forward now. Samways with a chance to shoot, blocked by McGrath. Rideout picks it up now. Can he get the cross he's looking for? Jackson at the far post, and just over. Another good chance for Everton goes begging, and Matt Jackson doesn't score many, but he got up well from right back. It was a lovely cross from Rideout, and Jackson set himself, got over the ball, but just couldn't keep it down enough, and another chance goes begging for Everton. And now Samways forward towards John Ebrell. Cottee trying to get there. Villa, Kevin Richardson dispossessed. Cottee can find Limpar. Now maybe a chance for Everton to open up this Villa defence. Graham Stewart coming forward now. Lots of gaps beginning to open up at the back for them. Stewart turns, chips Bosnich. Oh, it's a beauty! And Graham Stewart scores with the most delightful chip. He's delighted with that. And it was a goal really that caught the Aston Villa goalkeeper Mark Bosnich out of position, you have to say. And Graham Stewart opens his account and opens Everton's account for the season. There's the turn. McGrath didn't get to him quick enough and chipped Bosnich beautifully. He was caught stranded 3 or 4 yards off his goal line. 1-0 Everton. And back they come again, attacking this Villa defence. Cottee trying to turn away from Parker, tripped by the Aston Villa midfield player. So a free kick for Everton. Limpar will be the favourite to take this one. 5-6-man Villa wall, curled it in, good save by Bosnich. Parkinson with a follow-up shot, and another good save by the Aston Villa goalkeeper. But it's Villa who are very much under the cosh at the moment, and Everton leading by 1-0. Limpar certainly got hold of it. Good stop by Bosnich, and a better stop the second time as his reactions were very quick to deny Joe Parkinson. And now Villa threatening for the first time. Phil King with a corner. In it comes the near post, headed on by Fashanu, and it's in. And a surprise equaliser against the run of play for Aston Villa. And John Fashanu on his debut, just getting the slightest of flicks with that with his head at the near post. 1-1, and Villa certainly buoyed up by that. Houghton trying to find a little threaded pass into that Everton penalty area. Parkinson breaks it up now. Here's the man most likely for Everton, Anders Limpar. Coming forward, midway inside the Villa half, to the right edge of the penalty area. Stewart, good crossing position, and it comes. Cottee's missed it, Rideout didn't. 2-1. And Paul Rideout with an excellent goal poacher's effort there. And the Gladys Street are happy with that, all right. It was a teasing cross from Graham Stewart. Here it is again, and Cotty he aimed for, he missed it, but Rideout perfectly positioned to drill the ball into the roof of the net. 2-1 Everton. But back come Aston Villa again. Everton a little bit stretched here at the back. Shot brings the best out of Southall. Good save by the Everton goalkeeper, who once again is likely to be a key figure for the Blues this season. Anders Limpar's had an excellent game for Everton. Tries his luck from distance, beaten away by Bosnich at his near post and gathered at the second attempt. But the crowd, excited by the silky skills from Anders Limpar's, had an excellent match. But back come Aston Villa again, not out of this yet. 2-1 Everton lead. Here's Ray Houghton, right edge of the penalty area, back towards Kevin Richardson. That one headed away quite comfortably. Phil King picks it up for Villa once more. A lot of space, too much space perhaps for Ray Houghton. Crossed to the near post, Saunders would equalise. Well, that was bad defending by Everton. And Dean Saunders, the former Liverpool player, with what was an easy header in the end. And it's 2-2.
Vinnie Samways was soon back at White Hart Lane, courtesy of the FA fixtures computer. The first goal of the game, and then, just to show what he could do with his head, the second from the German striker. Paul Rideout started the season as he finished it. He got the second goal of the campaign for him, but it wasn't enough to earn a point for the Toffee men. And indeed there was none from the next three games. A disastrous 4-0 beating at Main Road was followed by the first home defeat, 2-1 at the hands of Nottingham Forest. Rideout again the scorer for the Blues. So the end of August and just 1 point from 4 games, down among the dead men with Leicester, West Ham United and Coventry City. Into September, and sadly things went from bad to worse at Ewood Park, where we'd gone down 2-0 last time. Rovers this time knocked in 3. Shearer with the first, Wilcox with the second, and then a penalty again from Alan Shearer. Back on home turf, and there was a little respite from the gloom. Not much though. A 2-2 draw was all we could manage against QPR.
Here come Rangers now, looking for the opening goal. The cross inviting for the head of Les Ferdinand, and Ferdinand has scored. And Queen's Park Rangers take a surprise early lead, and the scourge of the Everton defence in recent seasons, Ferdinand the scorer. Well, can Everton get back on level terms straight away here? Amakachi involved in this build-up, and now the Nigerian, well set here, and he's missed badly. Well, Daniel Amakachi didn't provide a £3 million finish there, and he was well set up. Clear side of goal, and Rangers still hold a 1-0 lead. But Everton looking to provide an equaliser again. It's Samways who's going to take the corner at the park end. Looking for the head of Matt Jackson. It's a set ploy. Jackson flicks it on, and Amakachi scores this time. And the Queen's Park Rangers defence was rather flat-footed, but Amakachi won't worry about that. And you can see the delight from the Everton fans. It was an inviting corner for the flick on by Jackson from Samways, and there was Amakachi with the easiest of side foot finishes. It's 1-1. Now Clive Wilson for Queen's Park Rangers. Rangers losing out disappointingly for them though, and Amakachi can set Limpar in. Needs a good cross, right out with a header down, and Roberts can't keep it out, and I think it crossed the line. Yes, the referee has given it, and Rideout puts Everton 2-1 in front. Limpar gets the credit for the cross, and there was Rideout again. The Queen's Park Rangers defence was a little bit suspect, and Roberts bravely tried to keep it out, couldn't do so, and Everton lead 2-1. Now looking for a third goal. Good chance here. Amakachi in the middle, so too Rideout. Oh, and his strength is in the air, and Paul Rideout was found brilliantly there, and he shakes his head because he knows how good a chance it was. Everton then still holding on to a 2-1 lead. Long punt down the field by Unsworth. Rideout might get on the end of this. A little bit stretched, a little bit lacking for pace at the back, and Rideout shoots just over. Good effort that by Paul Rideout. The Everton crowd appreciated that, and Queen's Park Rangers were lucky to escape. Still Everton leading then by 2-1, but Rangers not yet out of this game. There's a slip there by Gary Ablett. Ferdinand's in, danger here, it's 2-2. And Les Ferdinand restores parity, And yet further problems from that Everton defence of the England international. He's got such a great record against the Blues. 2-2 it is. Everton looking for a winner though as they attack their favourite Gladys Street end. Chance now for Amakachi. Stewart, good save by Tony Roberts at the near post. And 2-2 it remained.
Humiliation swiftly followed, however, as First Division Portsmouth came to Goodison and slew an obviously ailing giant. The Coca-Cola Cup would ultimately find its way back to Merseyside, but with red ribbons rather than blue on it. Pompey's 3-2 victory was enough to put Everton straight out when we only managed to draw in the away leg. These were the only high spots for Mike Walker's team. Leicester City had the excuse of being newly promoted for their shaky start to the season, but they too were able to grab a point at Goodison.
And then looking for the early lead. Chance for Vinnie Samways, and really didn't find the left foot shot he was looking for there, the former Tottenham midfield player. He bought himself the time and the space. The Leicester defence a little stretched, but it was a comfortable save in the end. But Everton still looking the team most likely. Here's Samways with the free kick. Rideout heads towards the far post. Burrows might pick this up. Leicester defence a little bit lackadaisical to get the ball clear. Good chance here for David Burrows, but his shot really was a defender's effort in the end. There was players unmarked at the far post. David Burrows went for glory, but really didn't find the angle he was looking for. No problems for that Leicester City defence. It remains 0-0, and now Everton have a chance again. Right out with a header, good stop, and it's in, bundled in by Gary Ablett. Well, he's delighted because he doesn't score many, but in front of the adoring Gladys Street fans, Gary Ablett makes it Everton 1, Leicester City 0. Corner, as you see, flighted beautifully, headed towards the goal. Good stop by Poole in the Leicester goal, but he couldn't prevent Gary Ablett bundling in the rebound. 1-0 for Everton, still causing problems from set pieces. Leicester get that one clear though. It's a semblance of a break on for them now. It's Julian Joachim, he's got Draper to his left. Here is Mark Draper. They back off him, and they back off him suicidally in the end, because Mark Draper, for newly promoted Leicester City, has made it 1-1.
Everton then still firmly anchored to the bottom, and there was worse still to come. October saw us lose 4 consecutive league games to Manchester United, Southampton, Coventry and Crystal Palace without scoring a single goal.
The way the season finished last year, we thought we just couldn't have a worse start or a worse season than that. And the way we started off was something ridiculous, like 3 points from 11 games. We were really at rock bottom, and I really couldn't see a way out of it.
The month of October brought just 1 league goal and 1 point from the home game against Arsenal.
Now Amakachi, Arsenal a little bit stretched. Chance here for Graham Stewart, but comfortable take for the England #1, David Seaman. Graham Stewart knows it was a chance. The Arsenal defence not that well positioned, but now Everton got another chance here from the free kick, trying to dummy that Arsenal wall. David Burrows wasn't very well worked, all a little bit messy, but a chance for Unsworth, and he scores. Well, they won't claim that was a set piece training routine free kick, but they'll claim it, and David Unsworth certainly will. And the youngster eventually bundling the ball in. They made a real mess of it, but there was Unsworth to shoot past the despairing Seaman, and Winterburn couldn't keep it out on the goal line. 1-0 for Everton. What an important game this is for the Blues to round off what's been a miserable month of October. Good work by Stewart. Now Ian Durant, great crossing position here for the Scot, drags it back, chance here, and Parkinson has scored. Joe Parkinson thinks he's got his first goal, but unfortunately he'll find very shortly when he looks back towards that Gladys Street goal that the referee has disallowed it. Ian Durant's cutback was superb, and Parkinson through the eye of a needle with that right foot shot, but denied his first goal for Everton. A player offside. Now Durant, who's had a good first half so far for Everton, into that penalty area. Chance opening up here for Jackson, shoots over at the near post. Well, Matt Jackson had players looking questioningly at him from the far post. They were better positioned. He went for glory, but as you'll see, blazed over the top. But it was a good position for the shot, but Seaman would have had it covered had it been on target anyway. Everton still leading by a goal to nil. McGoldrick with the throw-in for Arsenal. Breaks now for the Swedes. Stefan Schwartz going to try his luck. Oh, and he scores! Well, Stefan Schwartz set his sights there from 30 yards, and it needs to be inch perfect to beat a goalkeeper of Neville Southall standing from that distance. And Stefan Schwartz found a beauty. Nothing Neville Southall could do about it. He was across, full stretch to his left, but Arsenal equalise. Now, can Everton find a second? Durant with the free kick. In it comes. Chance for Amakachi. Didn't make the best use of it. And Amakachi's header did the right thing in heading the ball downwards. But as you'll see, David Seaman effecting quite a comfortable save in the end. So it remains Everton 1, Arsenal 1. Now Duncan Ferguson, a real handful for any defence. Sets his sights on the volley. Blocked by the Arsenal captain, Tony Adams. Didn't get it away conclusively though, and Ablett picks it up, finding Graham Stewart. Immediately Winterburn closed him down. Stewart looks up, looks for the options, trying to find a teammate on the edge of that Arsenal penalty area. Amakachi slides the ball out well. Cross comes in, chance here, and Ferguson puts it wide. Still looking for his first Everton goal, and Duncan Ferguson knows that that was a chance. At the Park end, you'll see he took up a great position from the cross, but just couldn't find the left foot volley he was looking for. 1-1.
The Blues had now earned an unenviable record. It was the worst ever start to a Blues season, with just 4 points from 12 games. It was with that unwelcome record hanging like a millstone round their necks that the team faced West Ham United and earned their first win of the season.
Everton showing the early ascendancy in this game, Watson having that header cleared off the line, and West Ham's defence certainly under the cosh in these early minutes. It was a good header from the Everton captain, but it was Mike Marsh perfectly positioned down by the right-hand post to get it clear for West Ham. Southall down the field, Ferguson beaten in the air by Alvin Martin. Now Stewart, Watson has got support in the right back berth from Jackson galloping forward now. A little bit laboured Everton in getting this ball up towards the Hammers penalty area. Now they do though. Stewart finding Parkinson, and just slid as he was trying to half volley that in with his right foot. Joe Parkinson still looking for his first Everton goal, but finished just wide of McCloskau's left-hand post. But better signs, Everton getting players forward from midfield and trying to prise open this West Ham defence. They have a chance now. Into the second half. Corner flicked on by Jackson. Chance here, and Ablett scores. And Everton are on the way possibly to their first win of the season. Gary Ablett's second goal of the campaign. And again that danger provided by Jackson at the near post. And as he flicked it on, Gary Ablett was brave, got in ahead of Dix and headed past McCloskau, who stood no chance. Well, the Everton fans up for it now. The Blues lead by a goal to nil as Durant comes forward, finding Stewart. A lot of space as West Ham defenders back off him. Cross comes in, Rideout just over the top. Good effort by Paul Rideout. Hangs his head in anguish. He knows how close he was to make it 2-0. He was head and shoulders above his marker. And Paul Rideout again showing his prowess in the air. McCloskau with the goal kick, headed away by Burrows, playing against his former club, of course. And now Parkinson, not the best of passes, but West Ham struggle to get the ball clear. Maybe a chance for Everton to make it 2-0 now. Durant finding Rideout, great first touch, shoots, and in the end quite a comfortable save for Ludek McCloskau. But as you see here, Durant's ball in, a great first touch from Rideout, and a fairly useful save in the end from McCloskau, but he won't put it down as one of his best. But Everton still leading by a goal to nil, still having much the better of this game. As Jackson comes forward, loves to raid forward, does Matt Jackson. It breaks now for Barry Horn, chips the ball delicately to the far post. Ferguson nods across goal, maybe a chance here now for Durant on the volley. Rideout in a good position. Well, he scores with a header, but immediately the referee says offside against Paul Rideout. But they are really threatening a second goal here. It was Bishop who didn't clear the penalty area with his header, and it was Durant's volley which found Rideout, but he sadly was offside. But still that West Ham defence under pressure, not able to get anything going forward towards that Everton goal. The Goodison Park crowd really happy with the way their sides played, still looking for that elusive first win. West Ham struggle to get it clear again. Ferguson, single-minded, goes for goal, but can't find the shot from what ultimately turned out to be an oblique angle for the big Scot. Still currently on loan from Glasgow Rangers, but already a hero with the Goodison faithful. But he certainly had the legs on that West Ham defence, but couldn't shoot across McCloskau. It remains 1-0 for Everton. We're deep into the second half as Limpar scoots down that left-hand side. Real will-o'-the-wisp Anders Limpar, wasting more time as he heads towards that corner flag. Still finds a way out though. He's got support here now from Durant. Square to Parkinson, going to set his sights 25 yards, good effort that from Joe Parkinson, always willing to have a shot from distance, still looking for his first goal, and brought out a decent save from Ludek McCloskey, but it finished 1-0 for Everton, and Gary Ablett and his teammates were left to celebrate a first win of the season.
The corner before, I thought I had a chance of getting in behind Julian Dix, and it flashed across the front of me, and I thought, the next time, I'm not going to let that happen, I'll try and get on the end of one. And Matt's got a near post flick on it and directed it, across the 6-yard box, and it's bounced, and I've got in behind Julian and just thrown myself at it really, and not really seeing it. As I've rolled over, I've seen the goalie fall into the net and unable to get hold of it. So it was nice. I think there was a few heart-stopping moments towards the end of that game, to be fair, but that was probably the bit of luck we needed to turn the season around.
And what was the feeling in the dressing room after that first victory?
Obviously, you probably could imagine there was joyous scenes everywhere. We actually got that elusive first win, but everyone's still realising that there was a lot of work still to be done to achieve safety, and especially when you look at 8 points from 13 games, and there was still a lot to play for because we were firmly anchored at the bottom at the time.
The West Ham game, I think that was the turning point, because in the last minute I think they hit the bar, West Ham, and that was our first win in so many games, and from that we picked up a few draws and started winning, and things did start to change a bit. And not long after that, I think Mike Walker was sacked and Joe Royals came in, and since that, the club has really, because we were so many points adrift at the bottom, and to make up the ground that we did was great going by the lads and the management and everyone.
So it was under new management the Blues faced the old enemy, and they might have been a different team altogether.
Liverpool, who've won 5 of their last 6 League and Cup matches, can move to within 2 points of the leaders Manchester United if they collect the 3 points here tonight. What will Everton, bottom of the table all season, produce for their new manager, Joe Royle? Early touch for McManaman, one of 8 Liverpool players away on international duty last week. That was another of them, Ruddock, who made a very good England debut against Nigeria, coming up against Amakachi, of course, again tonight.
Well, the first thing that Joe Royle wants his team to do is keep the tempo of the game very high.
Barnes brings it under control nicely. Quick feet from him as well. Here's Barnes again. Fowler just hit his feet, but McManaman might make something of this.
Well, that's where he is dangerous, McManaman, and where he has been dangerous this season. When he leaves this right side and goes infield to get involved in the attack, because it becomes very difficult to pick up. Look at that diagonal run across the pitch. He gets a bit lucky with this, but look, no one there to mark him, no one to pick him up. You can see what he's trying to do. He's just trying to bend that in the far corner, and he isn't far away. And what would Big Joe do for a goal here, right in the stroke of half-time? His team have worked so hard to defend what they had. They break forward, get a corner. Well, stranger things have happened.
First half injury time as well. In it comes. James only just reaches it. Björneby concedes another corner.
Well, just for a second I thought he wasn't getting here, but I think his height came to his help there.
Two months since an Everton striker scored for them. Back on September the 17th.
And he's on at half-time.
Paul Rideout against Queen's Park Rangers. Hinchcliffe has come across to take this. Corner hit long and behind for a goal kick. Everton felt it might have been another corner, I think.
I thought it was David James that pushes this over. Duncan Ferguson's right underneath him there. It really caused them all sorts of problems. You see Ferguson go up there, gets a bit on that. I tell you, if James didn't get anything on it, then they got away. They got out of jail there.
Barnes emerges with it. McManaman is here on the left-hand side. Fowler's in the middle. Here is Steve McManaman. Great ball skills, and Southall with a splendid save there. Well, this goalkeeper, he's had his critics on Merseyside, but that was a terrific piece of work to keep Everton in business.
And more than that, because he's had very little to do. But I thought Dave Watson would try to keep McManaman on his left side, but credit to Steve McManaman, got onto his strong foot, put in a good shot, and that's an excellent save from Big Neville.
Gary Ablett. Now Amakachi gets the shot in. Oh, and I think James just got a fingertip to that, and it might have made the difference.
That was a magnificent save, because not only that, he hits it well in, but it gets deflected. He busts in between players there, he hits it, takes the deflection off Neil Ruddock. Now look at that for a save right out the top drawer.
But he must be full of emotion about that, and Goodison goes wild.
Well, 5 minutes ago, he put himself in the exact same position, and he put it over the bar, but not this time, Ian. This is better delivery, it's about 5 yards out. Ferguson's a handful, I've said it all night in the air. He steps off David James, who doesn't get there, and just puts his head there, and into the net it goes. And I have to say, the second half start, they've deserved that goal.
Ferguson just getting a little, he said his shirt was being tucked, I think, Ferguson there, but the free kick goes to Liverpool.
I think, to be fair, it looked a little bit of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The Scales and Ferguson there.
Ebrel, right out, great chance, he's hit the post. Oh, that really could have put Everton firmly in command.
Well, once again, Liverpool, they're trying to play football on the edge of their own box. One sloppy pass. They give the ball to Ebrel. You can see there he's not offside. Steadies himself. He thinks, that's it. We're 2-0. He strikes the base of the post. Takes the ball into his stride, and one touch, steadied himself. He hits it quite well. Oh.
The Everton fans here absolutely on the edge of their seats to see if their side can hold on. Ruddock works it wide. Here's Rob Jones. Oh, goodness me.
Well, he caught Andy Hinchcliffe napping a little bit, Rob Jones. I think he's a happy man that he's pulled this wide. He's in the wrong side, and my goodness, I think if that had been on target, it'd be fair to Big Neville, he might have got something on that.
Parkinson. Babb wins it back for Liverpool, but they've got to get it forward quickly now. Mulby caught late by Limpard. Now Tablet. Hinchcliffe. Ferguson goes up, there's a crazy deflection, it might fall for right out! He scored! That's 2! And that is all 3 points for Everton, and will put them off the bottom of the table. Delirium from the Everton fans. Happiness for Joe Royle. It's 2-0 and Liverpool are sunk now.
Well, 2 things at fault. The goalkeeper's bad here. But Stunky Ferguson's height that causes all the problems in. That was a really poor punch from David James. I don't think he didn't need to punch it in the first place. He could have taken a hold of that. But Duncan Ferguson's threat was evident, and perhaps that's why he opted to punch it. But I'll tell you what, Ryder does well. It gets a little nick off Babb, but I don't think that made any difference. It was going to be nestling in the bottom corner.
Dermot Gallagher is saying, don't waste the time, I'm adding it on. They'll keep it in the corner, I think, if they can. That's what they're going to do. That's what any club in their position would do as well, quite honestly. The final whistle goes, Everton and Joe Royle. A famous win. What a start for the new manager. It's a night he'll never forget, whatever happens in the rest of Everton's season. It was Everton's night. Duncan Ferguson, look what it means to those fans. His first goal for the club, then Paul right out with his 5th of the season. Now, is that going to be the night that kick-starts Everton's season and starts their salvation after this most miserable of beginning to the season?
Well, to start off with, it was a derby game, so the lads didn't really need motivating for that. It didn't matter who was manager for that. But he's got a certain presence about him, and he just gives the lads confidence. He never looks as if he's panicking, and he's just give, as I say, confidence right through the team, and he seems to get a little bit more out of the lads.
Well, Joe, you came here. Did you realise quite what the difficulties you might confront would be when you arrived?
I would think so. Looking at the position, one victory in 14 games, it was never going to be easy. But then the pleasant surprise came. The players are an awful lot better than what would appear from the outside. So, yes, I mean, I realised that it was going to be tough, but the players have been tremendous, really. They've been a great response.
And you've had great character from the players. They've been players who fought for you, which is vital in your position.
Had to be. You can't ease your way out of relegation. You know, you just can't go from a losing side to a winning side overnight. So the thing that starts first is the spirit, and the spirit amongst them has been terrific.
Performances now improved dramatically. Chelsea was the scene of the first away win of the season. In fact, only our second goal away from home. And Paul Rideout got them both.
Well, your first away win of the season, Paul, took a long, long time coming, and it was only the second away goal that the club had scored, but your first victory, and you scored that goal at Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing was the 3 points. We got a good win the previous week against Liverpool, and we needed to get something from the game, and we thoroughly deserved the win, and we should have got more goals. But it has been a problem scoring goals away from them.
Despite the improvement in results, there was still a big mountain to climb. However, everybody was confident the summit would be reached. And spirits got a further boost when Leeds United came to Goodison at the beginning of December.
Now it's Gary Ablett. Hinchcliffe fell into the danger area. Carlton Palmer deciding he couldn't afford to take the gamble on whether Lukic might get that.
John Lukic inquiring to David Weatherall as to why he didn't head this, but I don't think he could have done. And when defenders and goalkeepers get close, there can be problems. Carlton Palmer just cleared it up.
The corners of Andy Hinchcliffe have been causing problems in recent games. There's another one, and it's caused a problem this time as well. Everton ahead again here.
Well, that's a great header from Paul Rideout, but where on earth was Leeds marking? It's a straightforward corner, it's very well delivered, pace, but look at Paul Rideout. That's very poor marking if you're defending a corner in. But I tell you what, it's a quality ball in, a quality header, really powerful, really direct. But I say it again, where on earth was the marking?
There was a story, of course, in the papers recently, which came from Illy Dumitrescu himself, who said Leeds were interested in signing him. Howard Wilkinson said nonsense when I asked him about that this morning. Meanwhile, right out again, stropping out Ferguson, who's running in. Luckily, the touch by Lukic took it to the corner.
Oh, not luckily, and I tell you, that's a great save from the goalkeeper. Ferguson's power in the air's the first thing. Rideout doesn't give it up, but it's a snapshot. You hit the ball early, you take the goalkeeper by surprise, and I think that's what he does here. I'll tell you what, that's a great save from Lukic. Just make a slip to the corner.
Another Hinchcliffe corner, and nearly another goal. Ferguson.
Well, both Ablett and Rideout holding their heads, and both of them had an opportunity to put a head on it.
But where were the Leeds defenders again?
You tell me. How many times do they need a warning? Ablett comes out, misses it. Rideout goes in, misses it. I mean, that was a glorious opportunity. Look at that, two of them in between two Leeds players. What is happening in there? I mean, Howard must be wondering what on earth is going on.
It's hardly a relaxing evening out, is it? It's Ferguson to Hinchcliffe, and then Stewart. Unsworth quick enough to get there. Trying the chip, and Lukic. So did he get a touch on that? He did. He said, I didn't. He said, I let it go, not to concede the corner.
I thought he touched it, I have to say. One of those tricky ones, swirling in the wind, and he's not sure, not 100% anyway. Yeah, he did push it over.
Here's another Hinchcliffe corner. Flicked on again, and Ferguson with the header. And Lukic definitely touched that one.
Are you sure? Yeah, again, they don't clear the corner in. First Rideout gets the first touch. Then Ferguson trying to look it over the goalkeeper. He would have done so, but Lukic is about 6'3", and that's not an easy thing to do.
Hinchcliffe again, whipping it in, so much daring, and Ferguson has got a goal. He's going into hiding behind his shirt, but it was a wonderful glancing header, and again it's a corner that produces the goal, just as it did against Liverpool at that end. 2-0.
Why should we be surprised? They haven't dealt with a corner all night. I just wondered for a minute, did he take a ride on Paul Rideout's shoulders? He gets up so well behind Paul Rideout. No, he didn't. Clean jump, lovely glancing header.
Horn. Ferguson. Taking on Palmer, who gets in his challenge. Another corner, and that could be more problems. The way Andy Hinchcliffe is delivering them tonight.
This should be an easier one to do with. This side should be easier because it's going to be coming away from goal. I always think that the one from this near side, Ian, when he's whipping it in towards the goal and whipping it under the crossbar is the more difficult one. But we will see.
Hinchcliffe. Was that a hand by Gary Speed? It looked like it. It's a penalty. Gary Speed hand on it.
Well, that just about sums up the difficulty they've had here. Up comes the hand. I don't think there's any doubt. There it is. It's to stop Rideout getting a head on the ball. The referee's in a great position. He's got absolutely no choice but to point to the spot and award a penalty.
David Unsworth is going to take the penalty kick. He scored it as well. Everton lead by 3 goals to 0 here, and they're going haywire.
Well, it's all going right for them, isn't it?
It's his second goal of the season, Unsworth.
Very calmly done. Goalkeeper goes early, and the kid just watches him and strokes it into the other corner. Nicely done. And that for Everton should be home and dry.
3-0 up, Dorigo. Southall comes for it, Dean! And hacked off the line by the man of the match, Andy Hinchcliffe. As if to confirm the point, he certainly was the central character. Joe Royle continues to be a very happy man. Everton are out of the dreaded bottom 4. Amazing stuff. Duncan Ferguson has scored again. Will they be able to make his move permanent? They certainly hope so. Paul Rideout has scored for the 3rd time in 3 matches. Standing ovation.
We beat Chelsea away and then Leeds, and all of a sudden 1 or 2 people were saying, hey, it's going to be an awful lot easier. I think we came down to earth a little bit and levelled out at times, but nevertheless the 6 defeats in what was it, sort of 28 games at the end, you know, showed that we were a hard side to beat, if nothing else.
For a week or two, it looked like the recovery had dried up. Goalless draws against Villa and Spurs were followed by a 4-1 drubbing from Sheffield Wednesday, and that at home on Boxing Day. The only goal of the game, a consolation one from Duncan Ferguson. Thankfully, there was better fare for the fans at Goodison Park on New Year's Eve when the scoreline was exactly reversed against Ipswich Town.
Everton on top early on here. Hinchcliffe, lovely cross with his left foot. Ipswich defence struggled to get it clear. Ferguson nods it on, right out with a good chance, and he heads over. Claims for offside from that beleaguered Ipswich Town defence, but Paul Rideout had a chance. It was Ferguson who was causing them problems in the air, so too Rideout, but couldn't position his header as he would have wanted. It remains Everton 0, Ipswich Town 0. The Blues come forward again. Jackson finding Barry Horn. Ipswich again, little struggle. They struggled to get to an Everton player in possession, and Ebrel turns that one wide of the far post. Well, John Ebrel took up a great position there, but finishing, one has to say, is not his forte, and if he could only finish a little better, then he'd be so much more of a potent force for Everton in their midfield. But he dragged that one wide of a post. Still 0-0 as Ipswich, who've been under the cosh so far, come forward. Kiwambia finding Sedgley. It's a great run and he scores. Totally against the run of play. Steve Sedgley puts Ipswich Town 1-0 up to stun Goodison Park. It was Kiwambia's slide rule pass, the running off the ball, superb from Sedgley, and Southall guessed wrongly. 1-0 for Ipswich. A real shocker for the Goodison faithful. Here's Barry Horn, forward now towards Paul Rideout. Crowd a little anxious as Rideout struggles to get the ball under control, and now Jackson. Can he get the cross he's looking for? He can, and Ferguson scores. Duncan Ferguson in an ideal striker's position, well made by Matt Jackson, and there's relief around Goodison now. Jackson The attacking right full-back for the Blues made it, and Ferguson in there ahead of the Ipswich marker, and 1-1 it is. Everton buoyed up by that equaliser. Drive forward now through David Burrows, finding Ferguson. He's so strong and difficult to shake off the ball. Back towards Burrows again. Teasing cross, right out with a header, hits the post, chance for Everett on the rebound, and now Jackson. But eventually Ipswich Town smuggle the ball clear, and Paul Rideout's left to rue the missed chance. He got up well, though, it has to be said, from Burrows' cross. He did everything but score, and the upright saved Ipswich. 1-1 it remains into the second half. David Burrows now getting well forward, finds a good ball towards John Ebrell. Just outside that Ipswich penalty area now is Hinchcliffe. Can he get the cross he's looking for? In it comes, headed away. Not a good header. Rideout with a chance. Oh, and he scores. Beautifully taken by Paul Rideout. He had to go for accuracy more than power, because there were so many bodies between him and the goal. As Hinchcliffe's corner was whipped in, it wasn't a good header, as you'll see, from the Ipswich Town defender, but Rideout didn't need any second invitations. 2-1 Everton. So, can they restore their pride and their confidence after that 4-1 thrashing at the hands of Sheffield Wednesday 5 days ago? Here's Duncan Ferguson on the halfway line, again showing great balance and mobility for a big man. Hinchcliffe driving forward from left back. Can he get the cross again to be the provider? He can, and Rideout once more is on the end of it, and it's 3-1 Everton. And you can see what Paul Rideout thinks about it all. Goes to congratulate Andy Hinchcliffe. Well, that's twice Hinchcliffe and Rideout have combined in this second half, and it's 3-1 for Everton, and surely they're going to march on towards 3 points now. Hinchcliffe, he's been everywhere today. Provider of those 2 goals for Paul Rideout, now doing his defensive work as well. John Ebrell forward now as Ipswich are stretched. Burrows, chance now, breaks one tackle. Great chance here for David Burrows, must score, doesn't score, and is left on his knees to wonder how he didn't make it 4-1. He did everything right here, David Burrows. A reckless sliding challenge. The goal was gaping, just took the merest of deflections, and Ipswich have to defend a corner. Andy Hinchcliffe to take it. He's looking for Duncan Ferguson, but Watson's in there behind the big Scot to nod Everton into a 4-1 lead. Well, these corners from Hinchcliffe are so difficult to defend. They were worried about Ferguson. It was the captain who nipped in to nod Everton into a 4-1 lead, and the Blues' biggest win of the season.
As the league table still showed, the Blues had some hard work ahead of them in 1995 if they were not to end the year in the Ensley League. So, the start of 1995. Not a good way to start, though. A 2-1 defeat at Wimbledon. Only Paul Rideout seemed to have remembered his New Year's resolutions, scoring the only goal for the Toffee men. A good goal it was, too. But the FA Cup campaign began well. A home draw for the third round brought First Division Derby County to Goodison. The Rams had narrowly missed promotion the previous season in the playoff finals. Now they were swiftly out of the cup by virtue of that goal from Andy Hinchcliffe. Back in the league, Arsenal were next on the agenda. A captain's innings from Dave Watson saw his name on the score sheet for the 3rd time in the season.
Dave has been faultless. He's strong, he's honest, he's very popular and well respected in the dressing room, which is always a bonus. And he just hasn't made mistakes. I mean, I played with Dave at Norwich, and he was a very sensible player then, and he's improved. He could still play international football, Dave, on his current form.
Promoted Palace was struggling in the Premiership, but so were certain other teams of a rather better pedigree. Let's be honest, we needed those 3 points. The goals from Big Duncan and Paul Rideout saw that we got them.
Everton coming forward now. Barry Horn finding Hinchcliffe. Great provider from the Everton left flank. Ferguson with a header. Great goal from Duncan Ferguson. Well, the crowd loved that, and so too did the big Scot. Celebrates with his captain, Dave Watson. It was a great cross. It just invited the header from Hinchcliffe, and it was a classic centre-forwards position taken up by Ferguson. Martin couldn't keep it out. 1-0 for Everton. Well, the normal pristine condition of the pitch at Goodison Park is not at its finest at the moment, and both teams trying to deal with very windy conditions as Burrows finds Hinchcliffe again, the main provider, the main source for Everton, and Ferguson again on the end of that one. Can't keep his header down this time. and Nigel Martyn happy to see that one drift over the top. But Andy Hinchcliffe will certainly be pleasing Duncan Ferguson with that kind of service. Everton still hold on to a 1-0 lead. Conditions getting a little boggy now in the centre of the field. It's Pitcher finding his captain Southgate. Poor pass. Hinchcliffe will get on the end of that one. He's past Richard Shaw here. There's a great chance opening up here now for Barry Horn. Back to Hinchcliffe again. Appeals for offside. Nothing given. Good stop by Nigel Martyn. Well, Palace were all over the place there. They were stretched to the limit. And Hinchcliffe's shot was well beaten away by Nigel Martyn, showing just why he's been knocking on the door of a full England cap. Southall, the Welsh international keeper, down the field. Coleman. Mistake there though by Martyn. A charge down by Rideout. He must score, and he does. Well, the easiest of finishes in the end for the Everton striker goes to celebrate with the Gladys Street faithful. 2-0 for Everton. And it was a mistake by, well, Coleman really put his goalkeeper Martyn off. And as you saw, it was easily charged down. It was brave by Rideout. And he got the result for his bravery and wasn't prepared to give up any lost cause. Everton still lead then by 2-0, and Palace finding it difficult to get a toehold on this game. Lovely vision there by Ferguson, and he's found Hinchcliffe. He's got a great overlap here from Burrows. He shoots. Brilliant stop by Nigel Martyn at full stretch, and David Burrows could have done no more than that. Well found by Hinchcliffe. He really got hold of it, and the save matched the shot. Still Everton leading then by 2-0. Palace with this corner then. It's Coleman at the near post. He rises and he scores. What a soft goal for Everton to concede, and Neville Southall is none too happy with his defenders. It was Unsworth who was beaten in the air by Coleman, and Palace get themselves back into it. It's 2-1. They struggle now to defend on this bog of a pitch at Goodison Park as Martyn almost lost his footing there as he gets the ball down the field. Bad touch by Armstrong. Ferguson's in here. They're stretched once more. Palace. Ferguson must score. He does. And that will wrap up the 3 points for Everton. 3-1 they lead against Crystal Palace. It was Armstrong's poor touch, the man who's been linked recently with Everton. Ferguson went on unchallenged and found the bottom corner.
The away derby game was a non-event, at least as far as goals were concerned, but to take 4 points from the Reds in any season is very satisfying indeed. And it was a satisfying end to the month too, as a 1-0 victory at Bristol City saw us into the 5th round of the FA Cup, courtesy of a strike from Matt Jackson in the last few minutes of the game. The end of January was a significant landmark for the team, out of the relegation places for the first time in 5 months. We were soon back down there though, thanks to a 2-0 defeat at Newcastle, but then Norwich made the first of 2 visits in a fortnight to Goodison Park.
Now Ablett finding Andy Hinchcliffe, exchanges passes with Vinnie Samways. Hinchcliffe coming forward, the Norwich defence opening up somewhat, tries the chip, but wasn't really going to trouble Norwich goalkeeper Andy Marshall with that. Crowd thought it was worth the effort. Andy Hinchcliffe, as you see, 3 or 4 yards over the top, but Everton asking the questions early on here. Chance to breach this Norwich defence. Hinchcliffe will take the free kick in towards Paul Rideout, heads down, but well, the only place he wasn't going to score from that distance was the header he provided ultimately. It was straight at the young Norwich goalkeeper Marshall, and he was happy just to scoop the ball up a yard either side, and Rideout must have scored. But Everton almost total domination of this match now. Hinchcliffe comes forward, doesn't need any invitations to gallop into the opposition's half. Finds Stewart, great pass, good finish, 1-0 Everton. Well, Graham Stewart's running off the ball was excellent there, and the precision of the pass was exemplary from Andy Hinchcliffe. There you see it, there's the run from Stewart. Marshall left with no chance, and that's 1-0 Everton, a fine goal. Well appreciated by the Goodison Park crowd. Here's Samways finding Ebrel, and now Barry Horn checks. He's got Earl Barrett in support. Now can Barrett find a decent cross here? Rideout challenges, leaves it, might fall here for Ablett, shoots, took a deflection off the outside of the post, and it's hands on head time for those Everton players. Gary Ablett has a fierce look at that right upright. You'll see how close he was, and Everton still holding on to a 1-0 lead here. There's David Unsworth. What a rich future in the game he's got. Finds Andy Hinchcliffe. He's got Samways out to his left-hand side. Now Vinnie Samways might think about attacking the dead ball line. He does so. Great crossing position here. Samways right out at the far post, and he makes it 2-0. beautifully set up by the former Tottenham player Vinnie Samways, who's been out of favour for the last 3 months, coming off the substitutes bench to great effect here today, and Rideout found the positive downward header. No chance for the Norwich City goalkeeper. So 2-0 Everton lead, and Norwich not looking like they're going to get back into this one, but still bravely coming forward. Here's a chance for Ashley Ward, and now Mike Milligan. He shoots, no power, but unfortunately it's found the bottom corner of the net. Unbelievable. Mike Milligan scores against his former club, 2-1.
A 2-all draw at Upton Park against West Ham United was next on the menu.
Now Tony Cottee gets a touch against his former Everton teammates, of course, tonight. A big evening for him. Takes on that Blues defence. Gets round one, then another. Ablett can't get there, and Cottee scores. Well, you almost could have written the script, couldn't you? Tony Cottee, well, that's pleased his manager Harry Redknapp, all right, and West Ham take the lead. Everton trying to restore parity now. Barry Horne shoots, deflects off Steve Potts as the rain hammers down here at Upton Park, and Horne knows that he was close to an equaliser there. Ferguson into Stewart, well laid up here by Graham Stewart, and it's not Martin Allen who charges it down, it's deflected off Steve Potts, the number 4. And McCloskey wouldn't have stood unearthly if that reached the bottom corner. Now the corner comes in from the far side. Ablett heads it across goal, and Rideout turns that one in from the narrowest of angles, and Everton have equalised. Paul Rideout delighted with that. It's 1-1 here, and you'll see from the corner that Ablett causes the problems at the far post. It's off the line by Potts. It breaks for Rideout as well to turn in a very tight area, and from the most oblique of angles he squeezes in the equaliser. Ablett's headed down. This is where Rideout picks up possession. He's got defenders all around him, but he spins on the proverbial sixpence and gets it in off a Palace heel in the end. We'll have one more look at it. It's worth looking at, really, because this is just about as narrow an angle as you could possibly get. And Rideout makes it 1-1, and that's sure to have brought a smile, as it does, to the face of the Everton manager Joe Royle. So, Everton back on level terms, struggling to get this one clear. Stewart. Barrett's in a little bit of trouble. It's a solid tackle by Don Hutchison. Danger here. Cross comes in. Cottee's there, and it's a simple header, and West Ham are in front. And Tony Cottee has put 2 nails into the coffin of his former teammates tonight, and Everton have it all to do again in these very heavy conditions here in London. Limpar now steps inside a challenge. Chance here for the Swede. Shoots it. Oh, it's there. And it's Everton 2, West Ham 2, and the travelling Evertonians, and Joe Royle has got a smile again. Ludek McCloskey's not smiling. It's 2-2. As you see Limpar picking up the delightful chip down the line from Hinchcliffe, set himself for the shot. It deflected. They got the luck of the deflection off Steve Potts, but they'll take anything that's going in this match, and it's been a good game. And the Swede shot was a beauty. McCloskey stood no chance, and it finishes 2-2.
Then back fluttered the Canaries for their 5th round FA Cup tie. To say the least, the feathers flew.
Now Ferguson nods the ball on. Chance maybe for Limpar. Onto his right foot. Oh, say, what a finish from the Swede. And Anders Limpar gets Everton off to a great start here. And the Goodison Park crowd erupts at a wonderful finish. Andy Marshall in that Norwich City goal didn't stand a chance, and Everton early ascendancy here. Jackson up towards Ferguson. Great first touch from Ferguson. Now Rideout. Graham Stewart looking to take on Mark Bowen. Tacks him to the dead ball line, chips into the near post. Rideout with a header, palmed away by Marshall and in by Parkinson. And Joe Parkinson looks for the offside flag. There isn't one there, and he knows that he has scored his first goal for Everton. 2-0 they lead, and Parkinson delighted with that. And Norwich having to defend one of the finest dead ball specialists in the country. Andy Hinchcliffe in towards Rideout. 3-0. Marshall couldn't keep it out, and Everton are on the way to the last 8 now, and maybe beginning to believe their names on this FA Cup. A dejected Norwich City goalkeeper, but nothing he could do. Such was the power of Rideout's header. 3-0 for the Blues, and they're hungry for more. Limpar finding Ferguson. He's clean in behind the stretch defence. Great chance for Ferguson. Oh, wonderful finish. Well, that was a £4 million finish from Duncan Ferguson in front of his adoring fans at the Gladys Street. Joe Royle doesn't wear a smile, but inside he does, and he knows they're on the way to the last 8 now. There's no question about it. 4-0 as they seek out a 5th. Hinchcliffe, great angle ball. Stewart, good first touch. He must score, he does. And that completes the rout for Norwich City. Everton 5, Norwich 0. And 6th round, here we come.
Well, if there was an award for the most improved player, Joe would surely get it. Again, I hadn't seen too much of Joe. I'd seen him as a kid at Wigan. But at this level I didn't know what to expect from Joe. Saw him in the first derby game, the reserve derby game, and he did exceptionally well, and he's gone on and on from there.
It was a disappointment to lose 1-0 at Elland Road, but it didn't dampen the fans' anticipation of the home clash with champions Manchester United. Just over 40,000 packed into Goodison Park, the best crowd of the season.
Now Hinchcliffe, crossing position here, in towards the far post, looks for Ferguson, brave as ever, but Schmeichel did well. The Manchester United goalkeeper kept his eye on the ball, and that's not easy when you've got a fellow like Duncan Ferguson raiding in on the end of crosses like that from Andy Hinchcliffe. Now Everton asking the questions of this United defence again. Appeals by Ferguson for handball against Bruce go unheeded by the referee. Still Everton in possession. A trip there by McClare on Barry Horn. So Everton have a free kick in a useful position here. Might be just a little bit too far out for Andy Hinchcliffe to try a direct shot at goal, but he'll be favourite to chip this one, I suspect, into that United penalty area. Hinchcliffe's trusty left foot bobbles a little bit. Schmeichel in trouble. Limpar almost made him pay for it, and the big Dane got a second bite at it rather fortuitously. He knows he was fortunate. It may have been the pitch, because as you see there's not a lot of grass on it currently. It bobbled wickedly in front of Schmeichel, and Limpar almost nodded the ball into an unguarded net. He knows how close it was. It remains Everton 0, Manchester United 0. Watson heads the ball forward. Neat layoff by Ferguson. Breaks now for Barry Horn. We'll think about a shot here, surely. Beaten down by Schmeichel, who narrowed the angle very well indeed to deny Barry Horn. But he is the busier of the two goalkeepers. And now Hinchcliffe. How about that for accuracy? 50-yard crossfield pass. Wonderful vision from Andy Hinchcliffe. And now Barlow takes on Lee Sharp. Gets to the dead ball line. Now he needs support. Gets it from Jackson. Early cross comes in. Chance here maybe for Ferguson. Was he held there by Steve Bruce? He has a little look at the referee, does Duncan Ferguson, but no penalty. It remains goalless in this fascinating game at Goodison Park. And Manchester United knew, despite Everton's struggles so far in their league season, that we'll have no easy task here at Goodison today as Ferguson finds Ebrel. He must score. No! Over the top from John Ebrel. It needed a more calm and assured finish, and it wasn't there. Well, he can afford a smile, but he knows how good a chance it was. Ebrel just did enough to hold on to possession, and then it breaks out on this near side for Earl Barrett. Early ball down the field, and the pace of Stuart Barlow's got him away from the United defence in towards Ferguson. Appeals for handball again by the Everton crowd, more from the crowd than the players, I have to say. And Steve Bruce gets away with that one as well. It remains 0-0. Fascinating struggle here. Giggs, a rare Manchester United attack, finding Ince. Great chance here now for Cole. Everton stretch. Good stop by Southall. And anything will do. He just was happy to get any part of his body on that one, Neville Southall, and spread himself superbly. But what a chance for Andy Cole. Still, neither side can find a way through. Limpar taking on Irwin and Keane. Limpar now has got a crossing position, maybe. Square to Horn, shoots! Schmeichel beaten! Oh, and off the upright. Well, you can't get any closer than that. Not unlike the shot he performed against Wimbledon in the last game of last season. But that one stayed out. Barlow finding Earl Barrett. Everton come forward in droves again. It's an expectant Goodison Park here. Barrett takes his time about it. Measured ball through towards Limpar, and Giggs, just testimony to how much pressure Manchester United are under, back there to give away a corner. Now, can Everton profit from this one? Hinchcliffe will certainly be looking for Duncan Ferguson. Swings it in again. Ferguson's there, and it's 1-0. And Duncan Ferguson takes off his shirt in triumphant style and waves it to the adoring Goodison Park faithful. A wonderful header, picked out superbly by Hinchcliffe's corner. And Peter Schmeichel left to reflect on what might have been for the Manchester United defence. There's the corner, and Ferguson, full 6'4" height there. Schmeichel came, tried to get there. There was a forest of players between him and the ball, and Ferguson's header found the back of the net. and he celebrated in some style, didn't he? Can afford himself a smile. Alex Ferguson having a word with the referee about time wasting, but the full-time whistle goes and Everton have brought off a famous victory here. And there is the match winner. Celebrates with the Gladys Street. Duncan Ferguson, a £4 million goal, and Everton deservedly the winners.
You know, we've won quite a lot of big games at Goodison. Liverpool's, Man United, Leeds. But beating Manchester United, it did really give the lads a boost.
Big Duncan's got so much potential if he ever realises it. The game's too easy to him. He's a good athlete, he can run, he's massive anyway, and he can jump on top of that, and his control's very tidy. If he gets the desire to be the best, he can be the best. And he's not at all the ogre that people see him as.
The ups and downs of the month kept us in 16th place with 34 points from 30 games, far from out of the wood and needing to do better than a draw against bottom club Leicester City.
Roberts dispossessed, Horn now, Limpar. Lewis is the full-back, this is Colin Hill. Hill caught by Barlow, no foul. This is Limpar now for Everton. Oh, what a splendid goal by Anders Limpar. 5 minutes in, and Limpar gives Everton the lead with a cracking shot. Well, no wonder the travelling Evertonians are delighted about that. What a goal by Limpar. He scored twice in his last 4 games going into this match, but that was a real peach. Horn. Is it time for one last raid for Everton before half-time? That's a great header on by Ferguson. Samways out towards the goal scorer, Anders Limpar. Hinchcliffe. Samways there for the second. What a marvellous Everton attack. The passing there was crisp and incisive and finished with a simple tap-in by Vinnie Samways. Willis, headed on by Roberts. Low. His influence on the game is growing all the while. Galloway with a cross. Great goal! Galloway. Low. He's beaten Matt Jackson. Flicked onto the near post. Southall. And the referee says goal. And it's given courtesy of Ewan Roberts.
Perhaps minds were focused too much on the FA Cup campaign at this time. At the City grounds, the Blues seemed almost lethargic at times.
Albert's cross looking for Ferguson, and Ferguson not too far away there with Everton's best chance of this game so far. He knows how close he was. But back come Forrest now. Danger here on that Everton defence. Brian Roy looking to pick out Stan Collymore in the middle, and Collymore scores. Well, Neville Southall won't be happy with his defensive cover there. And Stan Collymore puts Forrest 1-0 in front. Everton trying to get back on level terms, and that hit full in the face Joe Parkinson, and he's taken a severe bang in the face there. Joe Royle concerned with the linesman just in front of that Everton dugout, but the stretcher, as you see, has been called for Joe Parkinson, who looks motionless on that stretcher. Sympathetic applause from the Nottingham Forest support. It's Everton still battling manfully to get themselves back into this game. They trail by 1-0. Forest defenders backing off. Limpar here, crosses Barlow. Oh, and he's found the corner of the net. And this time, it's Crossley's turn to bemoan the lack of cover from his defenders. How about that for a celebration between Unsworth and Barlow? Now late into the match here, it's Pearce. Oh, and he scores, and no way back for Everton now. And Stuart Pearce makes it 2-1 at the final whistle.
4 days later was the day of the home quarter-final in the FA Cup against Newcastle United.
Now David Unsworth, ball down the field, looks for Ferguson. Venison favoured to get there. It's a crunching challenge though by Duncan Ferguson. Limpar will take over. He's got the better of Hottiger here. Great chance. Can he cut it back? He can. Ebrel must score. No, his first touch was poor. And a golden chance goes begging for John Ebrel and for Everton. Ferguson causing problems again in the air. Barlow on the end of this one must score. Oh, well, it was a good effort by Stuart Barlow. He did everything but score, and the crossbar comes to United's help there. Stuart Barlow left to reflect on what might have been. A rare attack now for Newcastle. Clark finding Fox, loses his footing though. Easy for Ablett, raking ball down the field, and Barlow's pace has got him away from Venison. What a great chance here. Oh, and again the chance goes begging. Well, how many chances do these Everton players want? The Gladys Street can't believe it, he can't believe it, and Barlow misses it. I bet he wishes he could pull his boots on again. Still 0-0 in this tense atmosphere at Goodison Park. Unsworth with a free kick, aims for the header. Ferguson nods it down. Watson's in there, Hottiger in trouble, and Watson has scored. Cernacek couldn't keep it out, and the captain has put Everton a giant step closer to the semi-finals. Well, that's what Duncan Ferguson thinks about it, that's what they think about it. And Ferguson goes to celebrate with the Everton captain. An unbridled joy around Goodison Park. As we look at it again, Unsworth looked for Ferguson. Newcastle haven't been able to deal with him all afternoon in the air. It was Hottiger, the defender, in trouble. Watson, a brave header. Cernacek almost did enough to keep it out, but not quite. And Everton in front, and he's dreaming of Wembley. Here's Hottiger now for Newcastle. Forward towards Clark. Might break here for Lee Clark again. It's a great chance. Wonderful stop from Southall, and Fox can only find the side netting. Well, what a chance. Maybe Newcastle's last chance. There are only seconds left, and that's it. Everton are into the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Joe Royle gets a pat on the head from Kevin Keegan. Dave Watson is the hero. He gets the only goal. The Goodison faithful, and Sir John Hall disappointed.
The Newcastle game having been switched to a Sunday, it was only 3 days later that the lads took to the field at Goodison again, this time against Manchester City. A goal from substitute David Unsworth ensuring the Toffee men another vital point.
I'm very happy with the way things have gone on a personal basis. Like I said, we didn't start very well, but you know, I maintained that I was still in the side, and you know, I've played for the under-21s. I got in the England B squad, and you know, we've been successful since the gaffer came, and I've been a part of that, and I'm very happy.
You've not come through as a teenager. You're a mature player. Why have you suddenly come to the fore, do you think, in your own mind?
I've no idea really. I've been in the reserves and knocking on the door, I think, for the last 2 or 3 seasons. I played the odd game here or there, you know, under Howard Kendall and Mike Walker, and then Mike Walker put me in the last 6, 7 games of the season, and you know, thankfully for me, I've stayed in.
It was back to winning ways again at Loftus Road. Stuart Barlow opening the scoring for the Blues. A rather fortunate, not to say fortuitous, own goal coming up. One of those the defence at QPR will say, how did that manage to happen? No doubting this howitzer from Andy Hinchcliffe. That made it 3-2, and all the points heading to Merseyside. The end of March saw us back in 17th place, just 3 points above the relegation zone, and with 2 more games played than Palace and Southampton below us. That being the case, it was a setback to lose at home to Blackburn. Graham Stewart responsible for the Blues' only goal, but perhaps again minds were straying to the following weekend. Elland Road was the venue for the FA Cup semi-final against Spurs.
So Everton getting us underway here. 2 of the great FA Cup final clubs here. Everton bidding to reach their 5th FA Cup final in the last 11 years, and Tottenham, of course, who weren't even supposed to be taking part in this year's competition. The target is right out. Oh, it's come through to Limpar, who was unmarked. Oh, and Walker just got a hand to it, but that was dangerous. Nethercott left Anders Limpar completely free on the far post. They had 2 Tottenham men challenging for the ball in the air, and Limpar was left alone. Watson's clearance just allowing Popescu to pick it up. Popescu back after a long absence with a knee ligament injury, but Everton winning that midfield battle. Rideout who won it back, Limpar who has it, looking for support. Jackson's outside, Limpar goes alone, and once again, Walker is stretched into action. Well, Tottenham are glad that their goalkeeper seems to be in the mood this Sunday lunchtime. Limpar again letting fly, good catch. And a better little spell for Spurs. Oh, but it's given away there. Stewart getting in behind Howells. Stewart still got it. He tried to find Rideout, who was waiting, lurking and hoping, but couldn't quite thread it through. And Spurs breathe again. It was a mistake by Howells. Stewart got away from him, and Mabbott cutting it out vitally. And at the expense of another of Andy Hinchcliffe's corners. Does this one produce a result? Oh, yes it has from Jackson! Jackson got the flicker on the near post. This time Walker couldn't keep it out, and Matt Jackson has put Everton ahead here. The deft little near post header. The Everton fans are going absolutely potty. A Hinchcliffe corner. You could have guessed that the goal might have come like that. Jackson did so well. Walker has saved so much, but he couldn't keep this out. And Matt Jackson, who got the winner against Bristol City in round 4, now strikes his second goal of the season, again in the FA Cup. And how vital is that? Here's Stewart. Drifting wide on the other side, cutting in, dangerous run. Stewart, Walker and Rideout, surely! And that's number 2, is it? No! Disallowed. Offside. Rideout was offside. The goal won't stand. Everton foiled this time, and there as he hits it, you can see Rideout is offside. And maybe Barry Hall was too, when the shot was hit. It was only when he made contact with the ball that he became offside, but here is Rideout. Bad kick from Walker, and Walker saves it, but this time Stewart, and it is 2-0 this time. The flag stays down, and Everton now are in complete command of this FA Cup semi-final, and they're looking good to make their 5th final in 11 years. Fans are on the pitch. And Graham Stewart, after Rideout's shot is blocked, makes it 2-0. Barnby, Klinsmann, near post header. Sheringham tried to win it. Was that a penalty? Yes! Sheringham was being fouled, and the penalty is given. Now, how important is that going to be in changing the mood of this game? Robbie Hart points to the spot. Across comes Barnes. Cross. Watson and Sheringham. And the referee sees that as a penalty kick. Well, the dubious penalty award. And Jurgen Klinsmann is going to take the penalty. And he scored 2-1. And suddenly, Spurs have something to chase. And Daniel Amokachi is going to come on in place of Paul Rideout. The Nigerian, who's been out in the cold in the main under Joe Royle until very recently and left out again today. He's only scored 1 goal. Another of his good crosses, Barnby flicks it on, and Nethercott! Oh, beaten away superbly by Southall. That was a splendid save by Neville Southall to keep Everton in business. And Limpar now. Up towards Barry Horn. Stewart, Amokachi, and that's number 3! And surely now, Everton are on their way to Wembley. Daniel Amokachi, the Nigerian, who's had such a torrid time since he moved to Goodison Park, pops up with the 3rd goal, and Everton must feel now that their place in the FA Cup final is secure. What a fairy story this is for Daniel Amokachi. Stewart again setting it up. Open invitation and Amakachi accepted it with great glee. Barmby. Sheringham to Barmby again. Abler. Here's Limpar, Amakachi in acres of space on the right. I don't think Limpar really saw him. He plays Ablett in on the left, Amakachi's in the middle. Surely number 4, yes! And now it's turning into something of a rout. 4-1. And Daniel Amakachi has scored 2. Well, if they wrote it in a boys' comic, people would dismiss the plot as too fanciful. And they're now on the pitch. And the final whistle goes. Everton and Joe Royle are into the FA Cup final. It's the first time he's done it as manager. Jerry Francis knows on the day his side were outplayed.
I've got to ask you about one incident in the season, and that was the substitution, or your intended non-substitution, of Daniel Amakachi in the FA Cup semi-final, Joe.
Yes, it wasn't so much keeping Daniel off the pitch, it was keeping Paul Rideout on the pitch. And Paul and Graham Stewart had done exceptionally well for us, and I wanted to keep them together. If I could, they looked a good partnership. So whilst we were deciding and waiting for a message from Les Helm, the physio, as to whether Paul did have to come off, Daniel wandered onto the pitch and scored 2 goals.
One of the best substitutions you've ever made.
Yes, one of the best substitutions I've never made.
FA Cup fever was now seizing the city of Liverpool, but in the league there was still a big job to be done. Back to Goodison came Kevin Keegan's Newcastle United.
Hall and Parkinson going for the same ball.
Well, they do compete for everything, don't they?
Even against each other. Beardsley, just ahead of Liam, behind Kitson. Limpar. Horn setting up, and Amakachi through the centre. Brilliant pass, great control, super goal for Everton. Absolutely splendid. Newcastle cut apart. Half of the Everton team go to Amakachi, the other half go to Anders Limpar.
And Joe Royle quite rightly applauding this. I'll tell you who played a part in that goal, Martin, and that was Barry Horn without touching the ball. He made a wonderful long run, and that occupied Darren Peacock, who left Amakachi. Full marks to Limpar, because he spotted the gap. His first touch was an excellent one. And that's a superb finish. That's a finish of a man who's high in confidence.
Stretch, he's gone straight to Stewart. There's Hinchcliffe outside him, and Stewart.
Hinchcliffe with the ball, no doubt about it. It's a very ambitious, if you think you're going to beat a goalkeeper, it's going to take something special from that type of range. I think his apology was there for all to see from Graham Stewart. Look at Hinchcliffe, acres of grass just to roll it to him. And Everton had men forward ahead of Hinchcliffe as well.
Everton would love a second goal just to settle them down. Limpar. Hinchcliffe. Amakachi! They've got the second goal! And it's Amakachi again!
Well, if ever a man's season is turned round in 4 or 5 days, it's Daniel Amakachi's. Could do nothing right on his arrival at Everton. Suddenly, his season's turned to goals. He wins that ball there, and look at him. He hears off to the danger area. But look at Limpar's part in this goal again. That's a magnificent flick. There's the advantage of going across the goalkeeper. We talk about it often. If you go across the goalkeeper, you have a chance, if he saves it, of that happening. If you've got a striker who's alive, Everton certainly have a striker who's alive at the moment, and Daniel Amakachi.
Goalless draws with Sheffield Wednesday and Wimbledon took us to the end of the month in 17th place, but still far from certain of safety.
Well, everybody else had a bit of a run as well, so coming into the last couple of weeks, and we had 3 home games, and I think that everybody, the the punters, particularly the fans, thought, well, this is it, we'll go and do it, and we didn't do it quite so easily. So we ended up with probably our worst performance at Ipswich, getting us the 3 points that we needed.
Chelsea was the second of those 3 home games. It produced a feast of goals, but by this stage we'd all have settled for a less entertaining game and a better result.
Suspicion of offside there against a player deemed not to be interfering with play. Paul Furlong, the player involved. Southall protests, but the goal stands. Chelsea lead by 1-0. But now Everton, a great chance here. Andy Hinchcliffe, oh, and a superb goal. Another virtuoso free kick from the Andy Hinchcliffe repertoire. It's 1-1 at Goodison Park. Corner, then looks for Rideout. Nods the ball in towards Ablett. He must score, he does. Dimitri Karin and the Chelsea goal couldn't keep it out. And Ablett goes off to celebrate with Earl Barrett and Stuart Barlow. It's 2-1 Everton. Here they come forward again. Andy Hinchcliffe, so often the provider. He's had a great season. Everton desperate for points. Amakachi, good turn, and it's there. A third goal for Everton. And the Nigerian Daniel Amakachi gives a reminder to Joe Royle and says, hey, I'm still around and still worthy of a place. 3-2 Everton, a narrow advantage. Defending sloppily here. Ball finds Furlong. Oh, and it's gone in. Disaster for Everton.
The next home game against Southampton provided little in the way of entertainment and certainly no goals, so it looked like it could go right down to the last game again. But thankfully, a goal against Ipswich gave us the points we needed. Then paradoxically, other results meant we didn't need this Paul Rideout goal.
Yeah, it was an important goal at the time because obviously we thought we needed the points. It turned out we didn't, but who knows? But yeah, I mean the whole team deserves a pat on the back because we were really stuck at the bottom when the new manager came, and we've played very well since. We've had a few dodgy results at home because of the pressure, but when we needed the win, we got it, and we got ourselves in the cup final on top of that.
The final game of the league campaign was therefore a formality, and the 0-0 draw at Coventry could have claimed little attention as the FA Cup final, the Blues' 12th, loomed less than a week away.
A lot of people have a little flut on Everton as an outside bet in the cup, because obviously the great tradition that the club has got, in the competition. And obviously with Joe coming here, he's done well the last couple of years with Oldham. He's got them semi-finals and finals of Milk Cups and stuff like that. So it's in his blood, and obviously Mark Hughes had equalised in the last minute at Wembley, and then obviously they'd gone back to Main Road and United had beat them. I think it was 4-1. So I mean, he wanted to get there as well because he's not been to an FA Cup final before. So it's nice for him as well as the players.
Staying in the Premiership was the most important thing, and now that we've achieved that, we can go to Wembley and not sort of take it easy, but the pressure of staying in the Premiership's not hanging over our heads.
Just as in the quarter and semi-finals, Everton went to Wembley as the underdogs. But the belief and confidence of the Blues fans who descended on London from Merseyside was enough to overwhelm the scepticism of any number of commentators and journalists.
And so Joe Royle leads his team out proudly to Wembley at the Twin Towers after a real trying season. Everton will kick off the FA Cup final. Manchester United the holders, Everton desperate to prize it away from them. And here's Limpar. He's just got a lucky ricochet there. Limpar into the area, might try one there, and Schmeichel desperately turns it past the upright. Wasn't a bad chance by the Swede. Did very well to strike it on target, and it was dangerous for the keeper. There's a break in field by Keane. And McClare back into the midfield again. Ince, he's given that one away, and Dave Watson gets a touch on it. Limpar can forage clear with this. Anders Limpar's got Matt Jackson chasing to the right. There's a 4-on-3 breakout. Jackson into the area, he's unselfish, Stewart strikes the bar, Rideout scores. Took it brilliantly well. It was a brave header, and Everton go ahead.
Jackson was so unselfish, sliding it beautifully for Stewart, just got underneath it, a little bit of a bobble perhaps, and when it came to ride out, that was a brave finish. You really would have backed Graham Stewart to score, bounced off the bar, and with Irwin chasing at him, ride out did tremendously well. Oh, Limpar again catches Ince for Cold and slides it into the area. Stewart's got another chance and Schmeichel's forced into another stop. Ryan Giggs makes the break. He's got Scholes chasing in. Great save, Southall, and again. And he's the hero for Everton. Scholes cross. Good header. And again, Neville Southall is supreme between the sticks. Tense moments for Joe Royle, but not anymore. It's all over, and a famous victory for Everton. Dave Watson, the captain, congratulates with Barry Horn, and the crowd go absolutely delirious. Brilliant moment. Neville Southall so crucial in the second half and the closing stages, with Anders Limpar, who was quite brilliant in the first half. Joe Royle, after so many desperate Wembley failures, has a triumph. And it's everything for Dave Watson, the captain.
I thought at half-time we'd played ever so well. Disappointed we didn't have another goal. Naturally, we sat back a little bit second half. We said not to, but they did. And Big Neville's come into his own then. Yeah, we deserved it. Perhaps our name was written on it.
Dave Watson reaches the top of the famous Wembley steps and receives the trophy from Prince Charles and faces the tunnel end, and what a picture. Everton the cup winners. Dave Watson, the captain, raises the trophy aloft. Barry Horn gets an early touch of it and returns it to the skipper. A proud, proud moment for him. And the celebrations will start now. Just reward for the supporters that have been so loyal this season. Bobby Charlton, very sporting in defeat in his capacity as a director of Manchester United. Amakachi, a taste of Wembley success for him. Dave Watson doesn't want to let the trophy go. Everton the cup winners.
Yeah, it was a much better second half performance. Backs the wall a little bit in the first half, but we defended well. The back four, Neville did magnificently again, and we just managed to hold on.
We were under the cosh a lot of the game, so you know, defensively he's done well. I mean, the big fella Neville, he's made a couple of great saves there, and that's won us the game. Now, the big fella for us.
Oh yeah, to beat Man United here, you know, what more can you ask for?
You were a Man United supporter in days gone by.
But not anymore, true blue.
We thought we started pretty good, and we had a goal in the first half. In the second half, the big man, you know, made a brilliant save, and he kept us going. And definitely back home right now, everybody's going crazy wild.
It's a team game, and you know, it's a squad game, and they all pulled their weight today. And I think we thoroughly deserve to win the game, and it shows what a good side we really are.
Hard work and passion, and we showed that in abundance today, and got the result we deserve, really.
I just think we battled like mad. I thought perhaps we could have had 2 or 3 there, waiting on the break second half, but didn't quite get the finished product. But I mean, we soaked up a lot of pressure. Never made a couple of brilliant saves second half, and I mean, as the lads have said, thoroughly deserved our win.
Oh, it's tremendous. When you see the fans out there and the reception, just walking up to the box, it's magnificent.
Glory of a turbulent season, the FA Cup held aloft by captain Dave Watson. The Blues' return to the city of Liverpool the next day was truly awesome, with 300,000 lining the streets, hoping to catch a glimpse of their team and their cup. Every one of them now with reason to know as well as believe that for Everton Football Club, the glory days are most definitely back to stay.
It's just phenomenal. I think everybody's just overcome with it all.
Sensational scenes, particularly at Goodison.
Yes, they were all over the structure of the new shop, and I hope they're all safe. Phenomenal. Just can't take it all in, really.
It makes everything worthwhile, even the disappointment and the sleepless nights that you've had, because you haven't been sleeping too good over the past couple of months, have you?
Well, I don't think any of us has. It's all been a little bit nervy, but it's just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Got to thank them all.